Good morning. Welcome to Ramblings with Joe. Gerrymandering is a thing. And what thing is it exactly? Well, exactly what it is when political parties redraw the district lines so that the voting turns out in their favor. And it can get very, very convoluted. For instance, it can look like an hourglass so that they have, a huge contingency of, let's say, Democrats at the top of the map, and then a long alley and a huge contingency of Democrats at the bottom of the map, and those two are connected so that that particular district has a better chance of having a Democratic representative elected. Mostly what this impacts is the House of Representatives. Now, the Senate, it's a statewide vote for 2 representatives, and it does not impact that nearly as much, as if at all. The ability to redistrict or redraw the lines for a district can impact a district's outcome of an election to the extreme. The Republicans are very fond of throwing about the numbers that point out that there are states that have like 43% Republicans and 0 House of Representatives elected as Republicans. And their contention is that it is from gerrymandering. Well, as of late, I've been watching the news a little bit, and the Democrats are all claiming that the Republicans are more guilty of this than the Democrats are. And there's a big push right now for the Republicans to redistrict a lot of states. And the accusation of gerrymandering is pretty heavy from the Democrats. I was curious as to which party gerrymandered the most, so I did a little research. The conclusion of my research was that they're pretty equal. They're doing about the same. As I've said before, I don't use Google search a lot anymore. It's not something that I fall back onto because I think it's biased, and I get tired of the sponsored links at the top. And I think that you get a biased search result. I've been using Grok to scour the web for me. And it does a pretty good job, but you have to be very careful. And this is a great instance of that. So my initial search on Grok was to find out exactly who gerrymanders the most and whose gerrymandering gets the best results. And immediately, Grok gave the scale tipped toward the Republicans, that they had 26 seats over 5 advantage from gerrymandering. Didn't feel right. It just didn't sit right with me. So I'm digging into how Grok came to this conclusion, and if you watch, you can see what Grok is using is in something called the Brenner Center. It leaned very heavily in the Brennan Center. It leaned very heavily into the Brennan Center. So I thought, well, why is it leaning so heavily onto the Brennan Center? And I went back into Grok and I said, what would the results be if you disregarded the Brennan Center? And immediately you can actually watch Grok's thought process, and immediately it pops up the same query disregarding the left-leaning Brennan Center, and a light bulb went off. And I thought, so it takes Grok a couple moments to come up with the results. It always does. I'm not paying for the Grok, what do they call it, heavy. And I figured it out. I said, okay, so it's really dependent on whether it's using the resources from the left or the right. And I said, well, Okay, well I just told it to take out the left. That means it's going to have nothing but right left in it. So when it came up with the results, which lowered the results for the right, the Republicans no longer had the advantage 26-5. The Republicans now had the advantage like 10-3 or something like that. So I thought, well, that's interesting. So I told Grok, I'm typing, I told Grok, I said, take out all left and right leaning sources. And what are the results? So it took out all the left and right leaning sources. And this answer took quite a bit longer because it had to figure out which sources were right and left leaning. And it turns out it's nearly identical as far as gerrymandering goes. So this is a huge thing. And I think that if you look at the results of just this one search that I used Grok for, which I'm finding to be an incredible tool, something that I can actually set the parameters that I want more readily than I can on Google. And it's more conversational. So you can converse, you can try and convey to Grok what you want, and it seems to get what you want a lot quicker and easier than Google or Yahoo or any other search engine. So the initial results, the Republicans were kind of taking control of Congress through gerrymandering. The secondary results, not so much, but still they were. And then the third try, the tertiary results showed, yeah, that's both parties are just as guilty as the other party, and it's really not having that huge of an impact. The biggest impact on the elections that got Trump and both houses won over by the Republicans, as it turns out through this research that I did. So the results proved out that the biggest impact on the election was the dissatisfaction with the Democratic Party, that its constituents are not happy with the people they're giving them to choose from, and that's what's really messing up the Democrats. It's got nothing to do with gerrymandering. I'm sure that there is some slight edge given over to one party or the other, but after this little bit of research that I did, it didn't play a part in the election. The biggest part in the election, and I suspect that it will continue to happen, is dissatisfaction with the party leaders and the choices that they are giving. And from what I understand, Vice President Harris is getting geared up to make another run at it. I think she'll probably lose the nomination to Gavin. But either one of those people running for office are all right with me. I mean, it's unfortunate that Mondami can't run for president. I would support that. I think he would just get his butt stomped completely. I think Harris or the governor of California will also get their butt stomped as well. I know I lean heavily into politics on these podcasts, but that's really what interests me, because I've been trying to figure out why the world is at such odds with each other. And I don't mean just now, I mean always. There's always this tribal political antagonism toward one another, whether it's on the local HOA level, whether it's on the state level or with the national or world level. It's phenomenal to the extreme that people can't seem to find focus enough to say, you believe what you want to believe, you do your business how you want to do your business, and we'll let you. Because when it comes right down to it, that's what it takes. But this is neither here nor there. I'm just rambling this morning. I hope you guys all have a terrific Tuesday. I hope that you go out there and you find peace, love, and dream. Until next time, lahi traut. I know you can say, well, Grok doesn't know it's neutral. Well, I mean, I can't do everything. I have a job to do, and I don't have a staff. Nope, there's no staff back there.